Nic Rawlence, welcome to Museum Diary.
Thank you.
What do you do at the museum?
I study the impact of humans and climate change on New Zealand's native animals and plants, and so I come to the museum and I get samples from museum skins like these here, fossil bones, to get DNA from them to study how they animals responded to climate change in humans.
And you take them back to?
We take them back to our ancient DNA lab, which we've built in the Zoology department across the road. We extract the DNA, we amplify and sequence small variable portions that allow us to reconstruct the population history of these species.
So what have we got here then?
So what we've got here is what used to be called the Stewart Island shag, and in part of our research we found that the Stewart Island shag formed two different groups or lineages, one in Otago and one in Foveaux Strait, Stewart Island. And so by comparing specimens from museums from Otago from the Foveaux Strait ones, we found they were two separate species. And so we've named these ones here the Otago Shag, which is unique to the Otago coastline, and there's another one called the Foveaux Shag.
They're not far apart, are they?
No. At their shortest distance, it's only about 120 kilometres.
So are they quite territorial? Or is that the wrong word to use?
Not really territorial. They're philopatric, which basically means they will go back to the colony they were born at. So that helps create a lot of genetic structure, differences between the populations, and in time will lead to the formation of different species.
Well, someone who doesn't know, looking at these birds, would consider that there are three different types of shag. We have a white-breasted one, dark with a white breast, and then a fully black one. So
with both the Otago and Foveaux shag, they come in two morphs or two plumage types. We have the bronze morph here, and then we've got the pied morph where it's got the black back and the white underbelly, and then the one on the end here is a juvenile pied. And so what we can do is when we're looking for differences between species, we can compare differences in the shape of the wing and leg bones. We can look at differences in the shape of the skull and mandible, but we can also look at plumage differences, so differences in colour around the gular or pouch here, differences at the top of the bill.
And why would these differences exist? Why do they need to exist?
Individuals within a population need to be able to recognise each other. Otherwise you'll start getting hybridisation between different species, which will lead to species collapsing or becoming very endangered. So the prime examples are the grey duck in New Zealand, which is hybridising with mallards, and the black stilt.
What are the implications then of defining a new species? What happens then? I mean, do you rush out of the room crying eureka? What do you do?
So we have to publish the new species description in a paper, and that is coming out in the Zoological Journal of the Linnaean Society. It needs to be accepted by the New Zealand Checklist Committee. But the upshot is, ironically, because we've split the Stewart Island shag into two separate species, is the population size is suddenly halved. We've gone from 5,000 birds down to about 2,500 per species. But they have very different histories. So the population history of the Foveaux shag has been very stable through time. They weren't affected by human hunting. Whereas the population history of the Otago shag, they were spread across the entirety of the East and South Island, and then with 100 years they'd lost 99% of their population numbers were restricted to Otago. So by calling these two different species, they need two different conservation strategies. To save the Otago shag and stop it becoming more endangered is going to take a very different conservation effort to the Foveaux shag.
So this new species, it undergoes a certain testing. There is a testing procedure. So they look at your findings and
they look at our findings. We get our paper peer reviewed by 3 to 4 reviewers. They will ask questions. We have to do more analysis. And then the checklist committee will take a total evidence approach of whether they accept the new findings.
So could this apply further up the coast? Might it happen, say, off Christchurch, for example, Rakaroa? Do they have shag colonies up there?
They have shag colonies for different species, for spotted shags, for pied shags. One of the interesting implications is we know the Otago Shag used to be up at Banks Peninsula, up near Kaikoura and in Marlborough, so we could start reintroducing the species to its former range if we can control predator numbers. The good thing is these guys love to live on isolated rock stacks, which is probably one of the reasons they survived in Otago.
Hard to get at.
Very hard.
Nic Rawlence, thank you very much.
Thank you.